She was just 7 years old, but every nanny ran from her like a ghost. Some said she was possessed. Some said she was evil. But the truth? She was just a little girl, crying inside. This little girl was always seeing her dead mother in the dream, trying to tell her something, and she was waiting for someone to see her pain. Then one woman came. Not rich, not perfect, but with a heart so pure. She did what no one else could. She uncovered a secret so dark, it had been buried behind love, lies, and fire. Sometimes, angels don't come with wings. They come as nannies. Why did every nanny run away? Until Angela showed up. What secret was Precious's dead mother trying to reveal to her in her dreams? Stay tuned. You're not ready for what's coming next. Inside the heart of Lagos, beyond the tall black gates and golden lion statues, stood a mansion that many only dreamed about. It belonged to Mr. Evans, a billionaire tech mogul, feared in boardrooms, but broken behind closed doors. His mansion was perfect. His wealth was limitless. But his home was in chaos. And the cause? A little girl named Precious. Only 7 years old. But no nanny had lasted more than a week with her since her mother's death years ago. Some left after 2 days. Others ran away in the middle of the night. One even jumped the fence screaming, "That child is not normal." She bit. She screamed. She poured hot water on one nanny's foot. The staff were terrified of her. Even her teachers gave up on home lessons. Everyone whispered, "Precious is cursed." But none understood the pain she was going through. Because in her dreams, her dead mother Ijeoma usually appeared, dressed in white, eyes filled with tears, lips moving, trying to say something. But before Precious could hear the words, fire would consume her mother, and she would vanish. And Precious would wake up sweating, and her heart racing. She carried her pain like a bag of fire, which made her a very unhappy child and always throwing tantrums. She smashed toys. She scratched walls. She would always refuse to eat or talk to anyone. Her stepmother, Vanessa, had no time for her tears. During the time Precious' mother Ijeoma, Mr. Evans' first wife, was still alive, Vanessa used to be her domestic staff manager. But a year after Ijeoma's death, Mr. Evans married Vanessa. He felt she would care better for his daughter Precious. Because of Precious' constant tantrums. One afternoon, Vanessa stormed into Mr. Evans' office looking very furious, her makeup half done, high heels clicking. "I'm tired of this nonsense," she shouted. "Your daughter is spoiling my peace." "She's just a child, Vanessa," Mr. Evans replied calmly, rubbing his tired eyes. "A possessed child," Vanessa snapped. "Get her a new nanny, or better still, send her to boarding school. I can't live in fear of a 7-year-old. Mr. Evans sighed deeply. His face carried years of pain, hidden behind wealth and fine suits. That night, the 17th nanny walked up to him. With tears in her eyes, she dropped her uniform on the table. "I'm sorry, sir. I can't do this anymore. Please pay me anything. I don't want the full salary." And she left, just like the rest. The next morning, the staff tiptoed around the house. No one dared to go near Precious. She was sitting on the staircase, hugging a torn teddy bear, face full of sadness and quiet rage. Mr. Evans sat in his home office, staring at the CCTV footage from the night before. His heart broke. "I'm losing my daughter," he whispered. He picked up his phone and called the nanny agency. "Please, send me someone different this time. I don't want fancy degrees. I don't want English. I want a woman with a nurturing heart. A woman who knows what pain looks like in a child's eyes." That evening, under a dark, cloudy sky, a dusty black taxi pulled up at the mansion's gate. Out stepped a young woman in a faded skirt, old sandals, and a calm smile. Her name was Miss Angela. She looked simple. She looked poor. But her eyes were full of peace. The security guard looked at the cook and whispered, "This one won't last till Friday." Angela walked in quietly, greeted everyone with a soft good evening, and walked up to the sitting room. There, sitting like a little queen on the couch, was Precious, holding her teddy bear, eyes cold, lips tight. Angela bent down and smiled. "Hello, sweetheart. I'm Angela." Precious stared at her, picked up a juice cup, and poured the juice on the floor without breaking eye contact. The room fell silent. The cook gasped. The cleaner paused her mopping. Even Vanessa smiled from upstairs. But Angela didn't move. She calmly took a cloth from her bag, bent down, and wiped the floor. Then she looked at Precious and said something no one had ever told her. "You don't have to fight me, my darling. If you're angry, if you miss someone, tell me. I'll listen." Precious blinked. No one had ever said that. Not with kindness. Not with tears behind the words. Angela stood up, smiled, and turned to the staff. "Let me handle her. She's not the problem. The world failed her first." Upstairs, Mr. Evans watched from his camera feed, and for the first time in months, he felt something shift in his spirit. He didn't know yet, but a storm was coming. A secret buried in the shadows was about to come to light. And Angela, the nanny they all doubted, was the key. From the moment Angela entered the Evans mansion, the air started to change. There was no magic, no shouting, no punishment, just a quiet woman who carried peace like a shield. That morning, before the sun rose fully, Angela stepped out of her small room in the servant quarters. She didn't wait to be called. She walked straight to the kitchen and began boiling pap and frying plantain herself. The cook, Madame Bunmi, walked in and looked at her with surprise. "Are you cooking?" Bunmi asked. Angela smiled. "Yes, ma. Just small pap and fried plantain for a child. Precious is still growing. She needs warm food and warm love." Madame Bunmi paused, then slowly stepped back and allowed Angela to take over. Nobody had ever acted like this on their first day. "You don't need to do all this, she said. Angela smiled. "I know, but I want to cook for her with love, not just ingredients." Bunmi paused and said nothing. Deep down, she respected her already. By 6:45 a.m., Angela was outside Precious' room, carrying a tray. She knocked gently. No reply. Again. Silence. Angela slowly opened the door. Precious was awake, sitting by the window, hugging her teddy bear. Her eyes were swollen. Her face was pale. Angela placed the tray on the table, walked back to the door, and said with soft firmness, "Your body needs strength, my dear. Just eat a little. I'm not here to force you." Then she walked away. 2 hours later, Angela returned, and the tray was empty. The pap was gone. The plantain was eaten. That was the first miracle. But the staff didn't believe it. "This is a fluke," they murmured. "Let's give them 3 days." 2 mornings later, Angela prepared a warm bowl of oatmeal with honey and banana slices shaped like smiley faces. She brought it up quietly and placed it near the window where Precious always sat at. The girl was there already, arms folded, looking at the sky. Angela placed the tray gently and stepped back. "Would you like me to feed you?" she asked. "No," Precious replied sharply. Angela nodded. "Okay." She sat on the other end of the room and began eating her own food quietly from a small bowl she brought for herself. No pressure, no force, just peace. Minutes passed. Angela looked up and said softly, "When I was little, I lost my baby brother. I was very angry. I tore my school books. I stopped talking. But one day, someone gave me warm porridge. It felt like a hug." Precious glanced at her. Angela smiled. "That's why I made this for you. It's not food. It's a hug." Precious looked down at the tray. Then, without a word, she picked up a spoon and took a bite. Angela didn't cheer or clap. She just kept eating, like it was normal. Because for a wounded child like Precious, small steps felt like big victories. And Angela knew, love doesn't shout. It waits. At evening, rain beat down hard on the rooftop. Thunder rumbled. The whole mansion was quiet, except for the small sound of sobbing from Precious' room. Angela was awake. She had heard it from her small corner. She didn't rush in. She didn't knock. She waited, listening. When the crying grew louder, she slowly pushed open the door and entered quietly. Precious was curled up in bed, back turned, clutching her teddy bear. Angela stood by the door, watching. No words, just silence. Then she walked closer and sat softly on the edge of the bed. She said nothing. She didn't touch her. She just sat there for 20 minutes in complete stillness. And slowly, the sobbing stopped. Precious turned her head a little and whispered, "You didn't shout like others." Angela replied gently, "Pain doesn't need shouting. It needs understanding." Then she stood, pulled the blanket up to Precious's shoulder, and whispered, "I'm not going anywhere, my darling. Sleep. I'm right here." Precious blinked. One single tear rolled down her cheek. She didn't say thank you. But for the first time, she didn't feel alone. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. The rain had stopped, but the air was still damp. Most of the staff were resting. Angela sat on the floor of the guest lounge, a small box of crayons and plain paper in front of her. She wasn't drawing. She was just waiting. Precious walked past slowly, holding her teddy bear tightly. She paused at the doorway and stared at Angela. Angela looked up and smiled gently. "I'm drawing home," she said softly. "Not the building, but the feeling." Precious frowned. "Home is a building." Angela shook her head with a kind smile. "Not always. Some buildings are full of people but still feel empty. Some homes don't have walls but feel warm." She placed a crayon on the floor. "If you want, you can draw what your home feels like." Precious didn't reply. She stood still for a few seconds, then slowly walked in and sat beside Angela. She picked a black crayon. She began to draw. Angela didn't look. She let her express herself. After 5 minutes, Precious dropped the crayon. Angela turned her head and saw it. A little girl standing in a house full of fire. A woman in white was reaching out through the flames, but her mouth had a giant red X over it. Angela's heart broke. She picked up a blue crayon and drew a figure standing beside the little girl in the fire. "Who's that?" Precious asked. Angela smiled softly, her voice a whisper. "That's me. I'll stand with you. I may not stop the fire, but I won't let you burn alone." Precious looked down, then back at Angela, and for the first time since her mother died, she leaned forward, slowly, and rested her head on Angela's shoulder. That single act said what her lips couldn't. "I trust you." And from that day, something in Precious started to heal. One afternoon, Precious sat on a stone bench in the garden, watching butterflies. Angela approached slowly with a book. "I used to read this to my younger sister," she said gently. "Would you like me to read it to you?" Precious didn't answer, but she didn't walk away either. Angela began reading. Her voice was like a mother's hum. The breeze blew gently. The garden went quiet. Even the birds stopped to listen. When the story ended, Angela asked, "Do you want to tell me about your mummy?" Precious turned her face sharply. Her eyes blinked fast, holding back tears. But instead of crying, she sang a soft, broken lullaby. The same one Ijeoma, her real mother, used to sing every night before bed. Her voice trembled. The words cracked, but the pain inside them shook Angela to her core. She knelt down in front of the child and held it gently. "I hear you, my baby. I hear your pain." From the upstairs balcony, Mr. Evans stood still. He had just returned from work and stopped in his tracks. That voice, it was his late wife's song, the one he hadn't heard in 2 whole years. And his daughter, the girl who had locked herself from the world, was finally speaking again. Later that night, after bath, as Angela folded Precious clothes, the girl whispered, "I see Mummy most night in my dream. She wears white. She cries. She tries to talk to me. But the fire comes and swallows her before I hear the words, but she always kept pointing at her drawer." Angela stopped folding. Her chest tightened. "She's trying to show you something," Angela said softly. Precious nodded. "I believe that too." Then she stood up, walked to her teddy bear, and pulled out something hidden in its back. A small, rusty key. She stretched it to Angela with her tiny hand. "This opens Mummy's drawer. No one has touched it since she died. I want you to help me see what's inside." Angela's fingers trembled as she took the key. The moment had come. Something was buried in that drawer. Something Precious' late mother had been trying to reveal all along. And now, her daughter had found the one person she could trust to unlock it. Not her father, not her stepmother, but Angela, her nanny. It was Saturday morning. The mansion was unusually quiet. No movement from the staff. Even the clock on the wall ticked slower, like it knew something was about to happen. Angela stood in front of the master bedroom door, holding Precious's tiny hand. In the other hand, she held the small rusty key, the one Precious had given her, the key to Igioma's drawer. The drawer no one had touched since the day the fire stole Igioma's life. Precious looked up at Angela, her voice soft and shaky. "I'm scared." Angela knelt down to her level and held her cheek. "It's okay to be scared, but you're not alone. We're doing this together." They entered the bedroom. Everything was still arranged just like Igioma left it 2 years ago, before Vanessa moved in. The bedsheets had been changed. The scent of Igioma's perfume was long gone. But the drawer, the small wooden drawer in the corner beside the bookshelf, it remained untouched. Angela walked over slowly. Her fingers trembled slightly as she inserted the key. Click. The lock turned. The drawer opened. Inside, they found a dusty photo frame, face down, a pink diary with Igioma written in careful handwriting, a thin gold necklace, a small envelope, sealed, and a red flash drive. Angela picked up the frame first and wiped the dust away. Precious leaned forward, her mouth opened in shock. That's her. That's my real mummy." It was a photo of Mr. Evans, baby Precious, and Igioma. Igioma's smile was pure. Her eyes were full of light. Angela turned to Precious. "This is your mother smiling at you. Your mother was a very beautiful woman." Precious blinked fast. Auntie Vanessa removed all her pictures. She said they were burnt. Angela looked down. Her heart was breaking. Why would Vanessa erase every trace of Igioma? Why would she hide this drawer? And what was inside that flash? Angela picked up the envelope. It was addressed to Evans. "Honey, if anything happens to me, don't trust Vanessa blindly. She's not who you think she is." Angela's fingers shook. She looked at the flash drive and clutched it to her chest. "We need to show this to your dad." That night, Mr. Evans had just returned from the office. He looked tired. His jacket was still on. His eyes carried the weight of many sleepless nights. Angela walked into his study slowly. She said nothing. She simply placed the flash drive, the letter, and the photo on his desk. Mr. Evans looked confused. "What's all this?" he asked. Angela's voice trembled but was firm. "Your daughter led me to a truth you never saw coming. Please, play the flash." Mr. Evans plugged it into his laptop. A folder opened. "For my husband Evans. If anything happens to me." His fingers froze. He clicked. A video began to play. Igioma appeared on the screen, sitting in her car. Her eyes were red. She looked scared, but determined. "Honey, if you're seeing this, it means something has happened to me. And it's not by accident. Please don't ignore this message. There's something I must tell you. Something I've been afraid to say. Vanessa is trying to kill me." Mr. Evans jumped from his seat. Angela held her breath. The woman in the video, Igioma, kept talking, tears now in her eyes. "And she's been poisoning Precious. I saw the pills. I took one and went to the lab. The doctor confirmed it. They weaken the body, slowly. That's why our daughter keeps falling sick." I confronted her. She denied it. "Evans, I love you. I tried to believe Vanessa has changed. But she hates me. She wants everything I have to herself. If anything happens to me, please protect our daughter. She claims she met you first. She could have gotten you if not for me. So she wants me out. She wants you. She wants everything. Mr. Evans was shocked on hearing that. He immediately paused the video and said to Angela, "How can Vanessa claim me? I never had anything to do with her prior before meeting my wife Ijeoma. I met them the same day at their college when I was invited at their college for a program. At the end of the program, as I was getting ready to leave, Vanessa approached me asking a few questions from the talk I gave them. After some minutes, her friend Ijeoma walked into the hall to inform her she was leaving for home as they normally goes home together. Immediately I saw Ijeoma. My heart felt some kind of way. I knew immediately I wanted to have her in my life. I collected her phone number and that was the start of our love story." Well, he sadly resumed the video as Ijeoma continued to speak. "She is threatening me with my missing younger brother. She said he's in her custody. If I dare report her to you or the police, she would unalive him and I would never get to see him again. I am afraid. I don't want to lose my only brother. He's my only family left since we lost our parents. I have been silently trying to win this fight my own way without involving you." The video ended. Silence filled the study. Mr. Evans couldn't speak. His hand shook as he clicked the second video. This time, it was Vanessa, secretly filmed by Ijeoma. Her voice was sharp and angry. "You think Sir Evans will believe you? He's mine. And that your lousy daughter will be mine too. After all, I met Evans first. You took him from me. I must take back what is rightfully mine." Mr. Evans sat down, shaking. He opened the last file, a voice note. "They are watching me. If I die, protect Precious. Don't let her be raised by that woman." The audio ended. Angela covered her mouth with her hand. Vanessa said the fire that killed my late wife accidentally started from the kitchen, that she tried to save Ijeoma but it was too late. Mr. Evans said. His voice cracked. Angela stood up slowly. "Sir, I don't think that fire was an accident." Mr. Evans was shaking. He looked broken. He buried his head in his hands. "I married a murderer," he whispered. Silence filled the room. Angela stood still, eyes full of tears. "So, you must act now." Mr. Evans stood up. He paced the room. His face turned red. "And she's here, in this house, pretentiously raising my daughter like she didn't try to kill her. No wonder I am always wondering if she genuinely cares for her." Angela walked closer. Her voice cracked. "Sir, I think she removed Ijeoma's pictures and poisoned Precious slowly so you would never connect the dots." Mr. Evans turned to her, tears pouring now. "I trusted Vanessa. Like I said earlier, she was my late wife's friend, like childhood best friends. My wife employed her as our domestic staff manager when she couldn't keep a job. She was always getting fired at her places of work. So when my late wife passed, I married her. I made her my wife thinking she'd love Precious and care better for her." Angela nodded gently. "And that's why this hurts. But you can fix it now, sir," Angela said. Ijeoma tried to speak from the grave, and her daughter heard her. At that moment, Mr. Evans knew. He had to act. He picked up the flash drive, grabbed his car keys, and stormed out. Angela ran to Precious' room and held her close. "Your mummy's voice was heard, my darling. And now, your daddy will fight for you." In the dark of the night, the truth had finally come out. Early in the morning the following day, Mr. Evans stepped into the living room. Vanessa was sitting on the couch in a red gown, sipping wine. "I need to talk to you," he said, voice cold. Vanessa smiled. "What's at this time?" "I know what you did." Her smile faded. "Excuse me." Ijeoma recorded everything. "I have your voice, your threats, your face. You tried to kill my child." Vanessa stood. "You're mad. Where is your proof?" "I already sent it to the police." Before she could act, 2 police officers walked in and arrested her. Vanessa screamed, fought, kicked, but she was handcuffed. As she was dragged out, Precious came out of her room. She stood behind Angela, eyes wide. Angela knelt beside her. "You're safe now." Precious hugged her tightly and cried. The following day, the house was still. Angela sat in the hallway with Precious curled in her arms. The child had fallen asleep, but her grip on Angela's arm was tight, like she was holding on to the only piece she had left in the world. Moments later, the gate burst open. Mr. Evans drove in, stepped out, and walked straight to his study. His face was pale, his eyes wild with pain and rage. Angela stood, heart pounding. "So, you are back?" He turned to her slowly, his voice heavy. She denied it, screamed, insulted Idioma's name. But when the videos were played, she broke down. Angela gasped. Did she confess? Mr. Evans nodded. Yes, she admitted to poisoning the child little by little to make her dependent, to push Idioma into madness, and to win my full trust. She even planned to send Precious to a psychiatric home. Angela covered her mouth in shock. Jesus. That's not all. Angela looked surprised. He nodded slowly and was silent for a moment. Then, with a heavy voice, he said, "She did it. She killed Idioma." Angela's breath caught. She stepped closer. How? He closed his eyes, as if trying to erase the memory he never saw but now lived with in detail. She tampered with the gas in the kitchen. She loosened the hose and placed a faulty lighter behind the stove. She made sure Idioma would be the first to light the burner. Angela gasped, covering her mouth. Jesus. Mr. Evans' voice became weaker. Idioma had just come home from work. She was going to cook eggs for Precious. Vanessa said she hid in the laundry room and waited. Earlier she has made sure she sent the cook out for an errand. And when the gas exploded, she stood there, watching, listening, waiting for the screams to stop. Angela turned away. Tears rolled down her cheeks. How can someone be so heartless? Mr. Evans stood up, his hands trembling. And I married her to raise our daughter. I thought I was giving Precious a new mother, but I handed her to her mother's killer. Would Idioma ever forgive me? He said as tears dropped from his eyes. Then Angela looked him in the eyes and said, You didn't fail your wife. You didn't fail your daughter. You just thought you were doing the right thing for the best interest of your daughter. And now, you're making it right. Mr. Evans nodded through tears. And I'll spend the rest of my life making it right. She's in police custody now, he said, and this time, there's no escape. I let evil live in this home, Angela. I didn't see it. I didn't protect my child, not the way I should have. Angela walked closer to him. Her voice was soft but firm. No, sir. You were grieving, and grief blinds good people. But your daughter still has you, and she needs you now more than ever. He looked into her eyes that had carried his daughter's pain like her own, eyes that had brought light back into the darkest nights. Later that night, Precious opened her eyes and found Angela by her bedside. She didn't speak. She just reached out and held Angela's hand. Please don't go, she whispered. I don't want another mummy. I want you. Angela's eyes filled with tears. She leaned closer and kissed her forehead. I'm here. Always. Months later, Vanessa was sentenced to life imprisonment with no option of parole. The case was on the news, wife of billionaire CEO arrested for murder and attempted murder of stepchild. But in Mr. Evans' mansion, healing had begun. The air was lighter. Precious laughed again. She sang to her teddy bear every night. One beautiful evening, Mr. Evans invited Angela to the garden. She thought it was just another evening walk. But when she stepped outside, she saw flower petals on the ground, fairy lights hanging in the trees, and Precious standing beside a table, holding a small box. Angela gasped. Mr. Evans walked forward, his voice gentle and shaking with emotion. Angela, you didn't just save my daughter. You saved me. You saw our pain and didn't run. You stayed. You loved us back to life. He knelt down, opened the box, and inside was a beautiful gold ring. Please, we love you, Angela. Please, don't just be my daughter's nanny. Be her mother. Be my wife. Angela burst into tears. Precious ran up and hugged her legs. Say yes, Auntie Angela. Say yes. I want you forever. Angela dropped to her knees, hugging them both tightly. Yes, yes, I will. Laughter filled the air. Real laughter. Healing laughter. For the first time in years, the house that once knew fire now knew joy. One night, as Precious slept peacefully, she had another dream. But this time, her mother, Ijeoma, wasn't crying. She wasn't burning. She stood under a big tree, dressed in white, smiling and waved Precious goodbye before she vanished, and Precious never saw her again in her dreams. Somewhere beyond the veil, Ijeoma rested in peace, knowing her daughter was finally safe. Hey besties, what was your favorite part of this story? Let us know in the comments, and tell us what country you're watching from. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you never miss another powerful story from us. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.